welcome to With Styles. Look, this is going to be quick, but I have received this question a lot, and I got another instance of getting it last night at a track meet. The question for all defensive backs, it's just the number one question, is why don't corners ever turn their head around? And the first thing is, it's not ever. First thing. The second thing is, it really depends on what level you are, in my opinion. So let me explain this. I should have examples, but I don't. It just came to my head, just hit me as I was, I guess, replaying the last 24 hours in my head. So when a receiver in, how should I do? When a receiver in a corner are like sort of neck and neck, or they're close to each other, or they even as they run down the field, that's what I would call the corner is in phase with the receiver. When the corner is behind the receiver has a step or two on him, that means the corner is out of phase with the receiver. So here's the deal. I want you to understand this. First, the receiver always has the advantage because he's running forward. Defensive back is at least facing the receiver, so he's not running forward. He's at a disadvantage inherently. So that's number one. So therefore, if the well, first let's go. If you're gonna sprint, the easiest way to sprint is head and eyes facing the direction that you want to sprint. Okay, that's the most efficient, fast way you can run. Once you turn your head around, i.e., the receiver, when he's got to track the ball, he is going to slow down. Think about that. When the receiver turns around, he is going to slow down. So if a cornerback is trailing a receiver, the only time he has a chance to catch up is when, if he's out of phase or getting beat by the receiver, is when the receiver turns his head around. So therefore, if I am behind the receiver, why would I turn my head around too? Because now we are going to slow down around the same pace. So then I cannot catch up. So as a DB or corner, safety, whatever, if I am behind the receiver, I am going to run like I'm running a sprint to him without turning my head around. So hopefully I can catch up with him. And then once I catch up with him and make contact, now I can track the ball with him. How many times have you seen a defensive back turn their head around and the ball gets thrown over their head? Because they're not making up ground when they are behind the receiver. So now here's the thing. In high school, you can get away with turning your head around because most high school quarterbacks are not great deep ball passing quarterbacks. So therefore, you can get away with it, especially if you're more athletic than the receiver and or the quarterback's arm. When you get to college, you better not turn your head around. You better not, because it's going to be thrown over your head and it's going to be thrown for a touchdown. We're in the pros, you have to play hands. You have no other choice because every quarterback in the NFL can throw a dime. That doesn't mean he's going to throw a dime all the time, but you got to play on that level like he's going to throw a perfect pass. In high school, you don't have to worry about it because most quarterbacks are not going to throw a perfect pass. So if I'm playing press man and receiver gets more than arm lengths away from me where I can't touch him, and the ball is thrown, and the receiver starts to turn around, eyes get big, until I get to the point where I'm able to touch or get in his hip pocket, that's the only time I'm going to turn around. Now here's the thing. Depending on how deep the ball is, now you know that maybe I can't turn around anyway. I'm just gonna play the hands and rake the hands down when I see ball in hand, or you can time it perfectly. That's really why you don't see DBs turn their head around. Now I'm gonna tell you this: I don't have anything example to show. This is the only problem I have with DBs and certain routes is the back shoulder fade. For me, you stop the back shoulder fade by getting into the receiver's body and pushing him to the sideline. So now, if the back shoulder fade is thrown, you are still connected with him, and now you have a better chance of turning when he turns. When you're disconnected, you have no shot because that ball is going to come to the outside, and you have no shot. And on top of that, great pass beats great coverage 100% of the time. So even if you are in his hip pocket, forcing him out of bounds, if the ball is thrown perfectly and the receiver can catch it, he's going to catch it, regardless of how good you're in coverage. But your better chance is to be connected with the receiver. The thing I hate nowadays, and I don't know why it was taught, and I'm an old guy, is the guys who put their hands on the receiver arm distance away and they're looking at the ball like this. Like that to me makes no sense. For me, it's better for me to get into his body and then turn. Because now I'm still connected. And I'm not connected with arm distance away. So now I'm arm distance away and the ball is thrown to the receiver's outside shoulder. I've already put myself arm distance away. I have no shot. But if I'm in his body and the ball is thrown to his back shoulder, and now I got at least a chance to react and maybe tip the ball. But I don't hear to say the main reason a receiver or DB doesn't turn his head around is pay attention next time. Is he trailing the receiver? If he's trailing the receiver, he should not look back for the ball. I know we all can see the ball coming short. Like we can yell like it's coming short. You don't know that when you are running on the field and running for your life because you got beat off the line of scrimmage or you got beat on off of a stem or something. It's easy to see the ball for our sake from a wide view. It's like, oh, turn your head around now. When you are in the game, it's a split second decision. So for me, if I am trailing, I'm not looking back. I'm going to play hands. Now, what I have done, and I've only had to do it a couple times, if the ball is underthrown and I am trailing the receiver and the receiver stops, I've done this twice in practice, is once I see him stop, I immediately jump and in the air, I turn 180 and I just hopefully I can locate the ball. But the reason why I jump and turn, because now, in theory, they can't call me for a PI because I've turned my head around. The jumping part, if you're in between the receiver and the quarterback, so the ball has to go through you, the receiver loses sight of the ball. So then he can't adjust. So, like I said, I've only done it practice. I didn't have it happen to me in a game. But in practice twice. Once Craig Yeast ran a freaking post corner post, and he was about 60 yards down the field. By the time the ball came, I was able to jump, turn, and pick the ball off. But he was 60 plus yards down the field, so the ball was in the air a long time. The same thing though, it's the same concept. As long as if you feel the receiver stopping, and you know you're gonna hit him, and that's a PI. Even if they put the onus on the ref by jumping, turning, and hopefully you time it up right. But even if you don't time it up right, you at least give the illusion of you are looking back for the ball and trying to find it. That to me is your only shot. So when a ball you trailing by 2 or 3 yards, receiver starts slowing down, you running, boom, jump, turn, and try to locate the ball, and maybe you can pick it. But the most important part is you have a chance of avoiding a PI. So that's all. Just a quick one. I just want to get on here and explain why corners don't turn their head around in a lot of instances on deep balls. It's because they're trailing, and it's really just that simple. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you on the other side.